Hi guys, I'm Shmi and today I'm in Dubai checking out a very special Ferrari. This is the 458 Speciale Aperta, the final version of the 458 Italia, and this is not just any Speciale Aperta, it's one of 499 and this is a particularly nice specification. So we're going to have a look around it now, then I'm going to take it for a little test drive, get to experience this car in person, and then we'll sort of wrap up at the end. But let me show you around because this is really special. I mean, Ferrari had the 458 Italia, immensely popular. Then you had the 458 Spider, then the Speciale, of which they made a few thousand with the sort of distinct livery over the top. A couple of thousand of those, the track-focused hardcore version. And then you had this, the Speciale Aperta, the combination of the Spider platform with the Speciale engine and driving sort of characteristics. So they only made 499, makes it very, very special. And this is a tailor-made one. So we're gonna have a look around the spec first. But before I do that, I just want to whiz the camera around because this is quite a nice sort of place to be. It's boiling today, middle of the day. We're out right by the beach, checking out the car at the moment. So firstly, let's talk about paint and colors because this is tailor-made. This is a custom choice of sort of a really dark gray, black kind of paintwork with a lot of silver sort of metallic flake in it, which goes kind of in the same effect as the carbon fiber. So the vents there, everything's carbon fiber. This piece is carbon. Even these aerodynamic flaps that open to bring more cooling into the car, they're carbon fiber. The same as the flaps around, well, firstly the fins on the side, which were a part of the Speciale. The whole diffuser, the exhaust tips moved from the Italia in the center to the dual style of the Aperta. And then if I come right under the back, you can kind of just about see maybe the flap here that lowers for downforce at speed as well, which is quite a nice piece of active aerodynamics that this car introduced. Now the regular Speciale had a blue and white stripe. This car has the red and white, and that's very much the theme of the car. As we go through it, you'll start seeing lots of red touches. For example, the red center caps with the brake calipers there as well. The owner didn't want a red car per se, the owner being the 23 collection on Instagram, but wanted to maintain Ferrari's sort of traditional iconic red. I mean, the key is here to start. That's red from the word go. So let's open it up. The distinctive Ferrari beeps. Check out the interior, which is really quite heavily customized, as you can immediately see. Starting with the seats, you've got this sort of bespoke material with the white stripe up through the center, surrounded by the leather with the sort of white stitching, red seat belts to continue that sort of red and white theme. The floor mats as well, much the same. Carbon everywhere. Carbon, 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 carbon. I'm going to step in just so we can see a little bit more. Some yellow on the badge and the rev counter. But everything's beautifully thought out. So the red roof and red back piece accentuates the black sort of plaque there. Just looking around here, leather on the dashboard, Alcantara just through that central section to break out the two parts. Carbon on the central stalk, the steering wheel, the red and carbon finish as well. Even these sort of things are, having that in red is custom through Ferrari tailor-made. But let's start this up and put the roof down. So turn the key, hit the button on the steering wheel. Comes to life. And that is the 4.5 litre naturally aspirated V8. So that's one of the things, of course, that's big for this car. One of the last naturally aspirated Ferraris, and you probably can't see me at all right now in the dark. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous engine. It's one of the things this is famous for, and I'll talk more about it while we're driving. But, yes, let me do the roof, because we're driving in an Aperta, so that is the roof. Two-piece hard top folding back. The rear canopy opens, window drops slightly. The roof literally flips over back into the rear deck, which comes back down, raises the windows up and lets us know that it is finished. So let me step back out just so we can see the car in its top-down form, looking very, 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 very gorgeous. But I think enough talking, let's go for a drive. Now, one of the things with driving a convertible out here is that you find it is actually way, way, way too hot. The car is showing 36 degrees Celsius right now, and I want to put the roof up. Now, to do that, I've actually got to come to a complete stop, push the button, and the process will do its thing. It does, however, go up very, very quickly, up and down, of course, so you're slightly safe from being out in the heat for too long. And I am going to have the air conditioning rolling like crazy in here because, as you can imagine, a bit of a greenhouse with the windows, even with the lovely dark tints, which just make the car look amazing. So let's get driving. We're in sport mode, so this car doesn't have comfort like the FF does, for example, or the California. It goes straight to sport, and you have the addition of race on top of that. Obviously those make everything sharper, the 7-speed DCT gearbox shifts even quicker. You'd probably get a bit more noise from the exhaust valves being open a little bit longer. The 4.5 litre V8, which by the way, 4.5 V8, generates 597 brake horsepower, so you've got a lot of power going on in this thing. And driving on some sort of stones, I guess, like this, it's comfortable, it's compliant. But one of the things I found driving the 458 Spider before is that it lost a lot of the rigidity of the coupe, especially when you had the roof down. Now the Speciale obviously improved that by strengthening the chassis, additional support structures in a very, very big way. But the Spider of this adds another 50 kilos on top of the Speciale. Just coming through the shade. There we go. When those valves open and you get some of that exhaust noise, it's just immense. That is what this car really is all about. I mean, not even accelerating hard, you still manage to open the valves and get a bit of noise out of it in sport. Then you can obviously press the buttons, the pedals, or press the button in the center stack to go onto manual, which we always want just to get a little bit more noise out of it. We've got a pretty massive speed bump here. Carefully does it. Okay. Yes, that is what I'm talking about. Speciale exhaust valve. Okay, and we're out onto a road. Yeah, see, for this car, the noise is such a big part of it. Obviously the squeals of the ceramic brakes out there, they're not up to temperature yet. Just carefully over all of these bumps before we're out onto the main road where we can accelerate away again. And I mean, that sound is just awesome. It's one of the things with twin turbocharged cars, they don't rev as far, you've got sort of muted sound of the turbos, and this really is, I mean, as everybody knows and gets really excited about, one of the very last of the sort of naturally aspirated generation. And you can immediately feel the excitement. One of the things with Ferraris is you jump straight in, you can feel straight away at home, immediately ready to go. And just on some gentle corners, it does feel quite nicely held together. Just be careful of all the traffic here. But I like how you barely have to press to get the exhaust valves to open. It happens very, very quickly. Let's turn it up into race just to get a little bit of a feel for that. Yeah, the shifts feel a bit quicker. So I'm going to do my favourite trick, put the rear window down, just because we can. Put a little tunnel. Not bad, eh? Not bad at all. And that is really one of the big things in this car, just how good it sounds. I love having the window down here. You get the noise, still got the aircon going inside, without having to have the roof down and the sun absolutely blasting on my head. So what else can I tell you? Well, just a quick little drive, so I don't know too much about it. Just getting a little feel for what it's like. The shifts are definitely more violent in race. I can also go the other way into wet mode, where everything will get softer. You've got the bumpy road button if you want to soften the suspension even more, but it's on by default in wet. Same as my FF has. But you don't really need that here because the tarmac is so beautiful, unlike what we have at home. You've got all the comforts and creature sort of comforts and supportive sort of technology you want. From the 458, that's all pretty familiar. I do really like the sort of central stack with the launch, auto and reverse button. That was new on the Speciale, but then you could retrospectively order it for the 458 Italia. Yeah, all very very nice initially. So 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in here, 3.0 seconds. But you get that noise while you do it. That was a noisy turbo. There's John in behind him. So obviously we've got the shifters on the steering wheel, but we've got a lot of noise capable of this thing. about it, you know, 3 seconds 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, there's no question it's fast, really fast. But it's got a lot of character to it as well. It's just got character that so many cars seem to be losing. I mean, the 458 always did, the Speciale did. The Aperta has it even more so when you get the noise out of the back of it as well. The downshifts, just brilliant. Excuse the ceramics. That's one of the things I also love about Ferraris. If you were out on the track, let's say, and you just hold the downshift paddle, you just hold it in and it will automatically do the blipping down through the gears as soon as it can to get the sort of optimum downshift blip points. Got a green light again, which to me just sounds like another excuse to make some noise. Flaming out of that turbo. I don't know if you saw any of that on the camera, but that was some proper flames coming out of the back of it. Oh boy. Yeah. There's a lot to be said for this. This is a proper collectible Ferrari. You know, it's one of the last of the naturally aspirated generation. This, the TDF, maybe there'll be a TDF convertible at some point, an Aperta of that, but it's a very significant machine. It's a very, very, very awesome machine. Another thing I love, pull paddles. So good. It's like a supercar mating call. Just give it a little blip. Okay, so how does this make the driver feel, the Speciale Aperta? Well, it's definitely, I would say, more together, if that makes sense, than the 458 and 458 Spider. The gearbox is just a little bit smoother. The whole car feels almost a little bit more refined, if I could say that. But that's the sort of time thing, you know, it's a couple of years newer, and they've had time to refine and, I guess, build on the platform, on this sort of chassis, and the gearbox, and the engine, and everything. Obviously, there's been the downsizing from this 4.5 V8 to the 3.9 in the 488. That is a thing of the future, but this, you just, behind the wheel, you just feel like it's something really special. You know what it is, you know what it represents. It's Italy's finest, you know, Maranello's finest. This is a special limited edition product from the Ferrari factory. Summed up in that, you know, they built something, it's rare, it's exclusive, it's very exciting, and it is awesome to drive. One of the interesting comparisons, I suppose, for me, is how does this stack up to my 675 LT Spider, the track version from McLaren of their P11 platform, the 650S and the 12C, and of course mine is the Spider as well. Well, firstly, similarly, obviously, we can close the rear window, and we can put it in auto, and drive it in wet mode, so the most comfortable. Now, obviously, excusing the noise of the air conditioning in the background, well, maybe I'll just turn it off for a second. See, it's basically silent, all kind of gone, but I'm too much of a wimp, I need that back on. But it's immediately a lot quieter. This is where you can drive it in its comfortable mode. You know, the suspension, it's not the hydraulic system that McLaren has, so it's not quite as compliant when you go full on to that sort of comfort end of the spectrum, but it is very soft, especially on these roads, no issues at all. I'm trying to think from a sort of daily driving point of view. I mean, it's similarly stripped out inside, lack of carpets in exchange for raw chassis, tarp metals, carbon fibres, surfaces around you. But it's gentle, it's civilised, it's relaxed. The gearbox going up through the gears, you don't feel it at all. You know, we've just gone up into 5th gear, probably going to go into 6th any second. There we go, 6th gear. No notice of it happening. It feels like you can just bumble around in it. I think the mirrors are slightly more awkward to see out of, but I'm being fussy here. But it's kind of an interesting one to drive back to back. I mean, there's clearly a lot more demand for the Ferrari, stronger brand name, more history. But it'd be very interesting to have the two cars head to head, because I'm sure the LT Spider is quicker. The carbon tub makes a big difference, but the values of these are way higher. These are trading for 2.5 times this price just because of demand and the limited run number of them. Okay, let's hear this at the red line. Not bad. It has so many different noises and characters to it. You get the sort of almost squirts as you shift down a gear. Then you get lift-off kind of rumbles and backfiery burble. It's pretty, like, characterful, dynamic. I'm not sure how to explain it. It always seems to make different sounds. This prancing horse is meeting some other prancing horses. in his natural habitat. Okay, so I've had a pretty awesome drive, but I now want to show you the engine bay. So carbon door handles, which are a nice touch too. Let's step out of here and let me just open this up so we can come around and have a look at this. Unfortunately, you can't see too much. You can't see in from the outside, but there we have the carbon fiber engine bay too, which is a really nice touch. Again, optional specification. There's a lot of optional spec on here. But mounted deep in there is that V8 that makes that scream. What an engine it is. Close that back down. The stripe is really cool over the rear deck, the way it has this sort of swooping thing down to the middle. And close the door. In fact, I love the customization and sort of uniqueness of this car. Speciale Aperta. So yeah, another pretty awesome car to have been driving out here. And again, a big thanks to the owner of the 23 collection for the opportunity to have a go in his Speciale Aperta. More carbon, I'm noticing. Carbon, carbon, carbon everywhere. Awesome. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that sort of early first driving impressions in the Ferrari 458 Speciale A, the Aperta. Now this car's built for the track. It would be awesome to take it out on the track. Alas, just driving gently today, able to hear a little bit of the sound and show you an insight into what it's like just cruising around. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers!